All right, to start out using the Frantz, the first thing you want to do is get a sheet of paper, write the name of the sample on there, and then include hand magnet 0.1 if you want to do that. Some people just skip to 0.3, but then 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, and 1.0. That's the strength of the different magnets. To start off, you'll need probably a couple boats and some weighing paper too. Okay, so you want to pour out some of your Gemini down sample into a boat. Have another boat over here. This is where you're going to be putting your hand magnet material. Here's a hand magnet. You can get it from right on the metal bar there. And then wrap the weighing paper around that really tightly. And you're just going to hold this over your sample. Pick up any supermagnetic minerals. And then when you're done with that, you take them over to this other boat, unwrap the weighing paper, pull out the magnet, and everything should be deposited in there. And you're going to do that a few times until your sample is pretty much completely free of very magnetic minerals. If you're worried that maybe there are a lot of magnetic minerals in here and you accidentally picked up a lot of other grains when you were putting it in your hand magnet boat, you can always use the hand magnet and re-magnetize over all of this material and dump it into another boat if you want, which basically refines the magnetic minerals into that one and leaves you with some other minerals that may or may not have been intended to pick up or should have been picked up. But that's a step you can do depending on how much sample material you have. Okay, so I've got everything that wasn't pulled up in the hand magnet right here. This is what's going to be put into the Frantz. I've got everything that was pulled up by the hand magnet in here. This could be put in either a boat, or sorry, not a boat, a diaper using weighing paper. So you could have this as hand magnet up, or you could put it into a bag if you want as hand magnet up, or simply as magnetic minerals. It really depends. Some people like to separate hand magnet from 0.1 to 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, etc. Some people just group all their magnetic minerals into one. But that's where you're gonna start separating this out, and we're gonna take this sample and move it over to the Frantz. Okay, before you use the Frantz, you wanna clean this. You don't want to contaminate your sample with somebody else's sample. So you're gonna wanna make sure this is entirely clean. This is the hopper. Here's the chute. This is sort of a little like feeder or separator. And then you've got the bins in here, a black bin and a silver bin. So the first thing you probably want to do is remove the hopper. Do that by loosening this, bending this out a little bit, and then loosening this screw and then taking out the hopper. After that, you'll want to take out the chute by undoing these screws. You're going to undo this, and that will take all this out. Plus, I would take the two bins out. Okay, so here are all the different elements that have been pulled apart. And like I say, you're just gonna take each of these and use the compressed air to clean those. Be really careful, the compressed air can blow things everywhere. Also be careful when you're undoing these screws. They do have washers and they can get lost pretty easily as well. And then this is the hopper, and the hopper is pretty complicated for some reason. So we're gonna go over that. Okay, here's the hopper. This is fully assembled. So you want to take this apart, of course. I'm not going to do this right now in front of the camera, but I'm going to take these screws apart, And you have these two plastic pieces plus a metal piece that's sort of the slope to this. And then blow all this off, of course, with compressed air, and then put it back together so that it looks just like this. Okay, to clean this up, here's the chute. You can use some ear protection. This gets a little bit loud. Here's the air to turn this on. Do such. Here is the end of the hose. Clean things off when you're done. Turn that off, and then usually you have to leak out the rest of the air. I forgot to mention that when you're cleaning the chute, be sure not to touch the chute, metal part of the chute itself, or the underside of the plastic right here with your fingers. It'll collect grains and get sticky, and you don't want to do that. If it does happen, it's okay. Simply probably put some isopropyl alcohol on there and use some Kim wipes and clean that off, and that'll be fine. But generally speaking, try not to touch the metal part of the chute or the underside of this plastic either. Okay, so you're gonna take the chute, again, very carefully. It's a good idea too to check sometimes around here. Sometimes you'll find some little magnetic grains. You wanna make sure you get rid of those, of course. Put this in here and carefully slide this puppy back in there. And then, of course, put in the screws in here as well. I can't do that with just one hand. Okay, with everything back in place, all cleaned out, here's the hopper. You don't want to put the hopper too high. Obviously, you don't want it touching the chute, but you don't want to put it too high as well. You don't want grains to just waterfall down and spill out everywhere, but you want to get it in a good spot there. Once you have all of that, then you can go ahead and turn on the magnet. Oops. There we go, there's the power. It's turning on, and what you'll do is you'll turn the current on all the way up, and then put the voltage to wherever you want to go. In this case, it's 0.1. You're going to add your sample to the hopper, and then turn on the chute and the feed, which will spill the sediment out into the Frantz. Okay, so the sample is in the hopper now, and I'm going to turn on the feed and the chute, and it makes a lot of noise. It's probably going a little too fast. For now, we'll let that go. And the sediment will come down and start to collect in the two bins. Let that go until you're done.
Have it go about this fast when the sample's coming out, because the sample's really magnetic, so you don't want it to clog up under here.
Okay, so I came back. Obviously, there's nothing coming out of the hopper anymore. You can see material on both of the bins. What I'm going to do before I stop everything is I'm going to push surge. That just kind of shakes everything out of the chute. You'll hear this. Right, that just shakes the last few grains that are sitting in there. And now I'm going to turn this off and go to get the different minerals. Okay, so I have the magnetic minerals separated when the Frantz was at 0.1, and then everything else. I'm going to take the magnetic minerals, and generally speaking, you put those in weighing paper and make a little diaper out of that, and then write the sample number 0.1, and then up, or Frantz, FNZ 0.1 and up. This is an example from another sample showing you this is the magnetic minerals that were taken up at 0.3. So you take the rest of your sample and put that back in the original boat. And take both of the bins, once you take the minerals out of that bin, and put those back on the front. Okay, so we have the sample now, minus the 0.10 magnetic minerals, and we're gonna just add those to the hopper. But before we do that, of course, we're gonna change the voltage, move this up to 0.3, do this again. That's good enough. And then I'm gonna add the sample back to the hopper and then do everything over again and basically just repeat going all the way through 1.0. Each time scratching things off so you know what you've done. Once you're done, again, you want to take everything apart and clean everything, because no one wants your sample mixed in with their sample when they do this after you. So use the compressed air, but use it carefully, of course, on some of the smaller items because they can get blown away. And then, again, once you're done, reassemble everything. Oops, I gotta put the hopper back. But reassemble everything, turn off the magnet, etc., and make sure everything's clean. Grab your samples, make sure everything's labeled, and you're done.